Hello and welcome to Odds on Europa League Match Day 2. We are back to analyze the best 9 games. In this case, we are gonna watch on Thursday with Alain Valnegri, with Alvaro Romeo. You were really successful actually last week. Jake is saying the picks were back, but Alain, for instance, nailed his ACCA around 9, odds around 9. So the picks were actually very good last week, and it's never easy. The Europa League. So let's see what we have in this match day. For instance, as a highlight, Porto, Man United. Guys, remember, of course, to post your comments, ask any question to Alain and Alvaro, and don't forget, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And the first stop is going to be in Hungary, in Budapest. Ferencvaros, Tottenham. Tottenham living good days after winning in match day 1 against 𝐻𝐵C 3-0, despite Dragusin being sent off very early in the game. They went to Old Trafford and they destroyed Man United. Of course, they are super favorite to beat Ferencvaros. They lost 2-1 with Anderlecht in good form. Alvaro, Tottenham, after losing the North London derby against Arsenal.
They are in a good form, and I'm going to back them. I watched them the other day against Manchester United, and it's difficult to calibrate if Spurs were good or if Manchester United were too bad, or if there is a little bit of both. In my opinion, Manchester United were awful. Spurs pressed very well. Then they weren't very ruthless, despite the scoreline, because they won 3-0. But I think Tottenham is a team with the firepower, and that in the Europa League can take you high, at least can make you negotiate, not easily, but with a certain ease, the league phase. And that's why I'm going to back Spurs with an Asian handicap minus 1.25. So if they win by 2, you win. And if they win by 1, you only suffer, have a lose. If they draw, obviously, you lose your stake. But, well, it's the first ever visit of Spurs to Hungary for a competitive European encounter. Ferencvaros at home have been good this season, and this year in particular, in 2024, they only suffered 1 home defeat, but it was against Olympiacos. So the second they encountered European opposition, they crumbled. So maybe that gives us a hint about how it's going to be like this time. It's true that, for example, Leverkusen couldn't get anything but a draw here in 2021. Leverkusen lost here in 2021. Monaco got a draw here in 2022. Ferencvaros have a few decent players or good players like Varga, we know him. Adama Traoré, the player from Mali, who was good in the previous game. 𝗵𝗵𝗄, the second choice goalkeeper for Hungary, he's the captain. And the manager, Pascal Jansen, he left a 58% winning ratio at AZ Alkmaar before moving here. But still, I think that the win against Manchester United was a turning point for Spurs. In fact, Kulusevski said after the game, our season starts now. Kulusevski is in a good form. Brennan Johnson as well. Brennan Johnson scored only 5 goals in his first 38 games as a Spurs player, and now he's scoring many goals. And on top of that, he's having many touches inside the area because he knows how to get there and he knows how to find the spaces there. So I'm gonna back Spurs, as I said before. Asian handicap minus 1.25, plain and simple, because they've got a lot of firepower. And if Son plays, which is still to be confirmed because he picked a little bit of an injury before the game against Manchester United, I could back him to score because that doubles up your stake. It pays around 2.
And Salenki is also scoring. Maybe he's on the bench in this one, but it was an important signing this summer, Alain, and now he's delivering as the poacher he is.
Yes, but Tottenham is it's the second year of the project of 𝗵𝗵𝗄. I think the first year was really positive. I think Tottenham surprised a lot of people because it was the first season post Kane, and a lot of people was scared about that year. But Postecoglou managed really well. I think that they move really well in the market to buy young player with perspective and value. Some player like Madison do a very good season, especially the first part of the season last year. Now the risk about this game is to have the excess of confidence. Ferencvaros is a different Ferencvaros respect to the last season. Is a Ferencvaros now. In the last season, Ferencvaros was a team, really physical, with offer a really direct football. Now, when do you go to Holland? When do you sign Pascal Janssen? The message is, I want to change the model of play. You can play a really attacking, a positional attack like the Netherlands school in Hungary. Now in Europe is different, and we saw that from the beginning of the season. Janssen changed the system, changes his player in the last game against Academy Puskás in Hungary League. He play with the second team or with a lot of player will be not play tomorrow. Thursday, with which player? Kati Borges, Zakariasen, Traoré will be back in the field, and the structure about the midfield will be the key. I think Ferencvaros can create problem to this Tottenham, and I choose one handicap 1.75 for Ferencvaros, also 1.68.
Okay, so not losing heavily, Ferencvaros. Also, David is going for both teams to score. In this case, he thinks Ferencvaros could be in the score sheet. Theo going for Romero, at least one shot on target. Let's see also Postecoglou's line up against Qarabağ. He started with Son, Solanke, and Johnson. So a really important trio. No Madison, no Kulusevski. He has a good squad to shift and shuffle a little bit the cards between the Premier League and the Europa League. Next one, at the same time at the Olímpico, Lazio Nice, good game. And this one, Lazio beat Kiev, Dynamo Kiev 3-0, beat Torino away as well 3-2. So a very positive week after the defeat in Florence, with Dia scoring 3 goals. Nice, a couple of draws against Real Sociedad in the Europa League, against Lens away, 2 very difficult games. Alain, Nice European games, I was checking only one win in the last 10 Europa League games. I can understand why Lazio are favorite. It looks like it's a work in progress team, Lazio, but getting better.
Yes, getting better, and especially I think Lazio found an identity. Was really intelligent to don't change so many things in the team, and it's difficult because it's the first year after Luis Alberto and Immobile, and Luis Alberto and Immobile marked the history of the recent history of Lazio. Now Baroni gives some input to change the way of play. Maybe it's more directly team. Dia, I think, is the illustration of of that changement of the idea of playing. At the beginning of the season, they found some problem away. And in the last prediction, I was totally wrong about the game in Kiev because I don't imagine a Lazio with that powder. We had the confirmation in Torino. Torino was leader in Serie A. Lazio against this Nice, who is searching an identity. Nice changed really the really art form, the model of play, because Farioli is really offensive manager, is really transition manager, and he doesn't have the player right now to play his football. In attack, Laborde and Moffi are injured. Sanson is a box-to-box player. He's injured for this game. Bard is the left back, is really important for the offensive phase. He is injured. I see Lazio really favorite. For that reason, I choose Lazio winning odds 1.88.
Theo is adding up both teams to score, and Armin is asking you guys if you see goals in this one. Alvaro, Lazio, usually we see high-scoring games. For Nice, we don't know, actually. In one game we see 8, in another we see none. It's difficult yet to assess.
Yeah, but if you remove the 8 goals they scored against Saint Etienne, then you will see that Nice is not a high-scoring side. So normally I describe a high-scoring side like a team that weekend after weekend are scoring goals. And the Saint Etienne thing is probably a one-off, a very weird game. So, I'm more happy to back Lazio to win, plain and simple. I think Lazio are little by little finding their form. The win against Torino last weekend was very impressive. With no problem, Lazio was always in command in the scoreline. It was Nuno Tavares who set up the first goal for Matteo Guendouzi, and then I could see that 𝐬𝐿𝐴Zᵐ is still a very good knife on the flank. Dia is scoring a crazy amount of goals. Probably he's going through his best ever period when it comes to the big 5 leagues, because at Villarreal he didn't find that form, but right now he is scoring many goals, and I think that he is clearly the first choice striker over Tati Castellanos, or he has to be at least. But yeah, Matteo Guendouzi as well is a footballer that not only he scored the other day against Torino, but also he provided a couple of really incisive passes, profiting the high line of Torino, something that I couldn't envisage from Matteo Guendouzi at his time at Arsenal, because I think that Guendouzi was a rather dispersed footballer. But, I think Lazio is going to win it. They have been 8 games unbeaten in the Europa League at home, which obviously mixes different seasons and all that, and this is not maybe the most accurate parameter to measure their quality at home in the Europa League, but still, Nice, they have been a little bit flat this season. They are mid-table in the French Ligue 1, and it's true that when they win heavily, like against Angers or Saint Etienne, but generally they have been a bit poor. It's true that also they are the second best in recoveries in the competition, even though there is a very small sample size, only 1 game. But what puzzles me is that they are the second best in recoveries, doing just 5 tackles, which is one of the lowest tallies, which tells you that the recoveries, rather than about winning duels and all that, and Alain may know more about that, is about good positioning. So, maybe there is something that they can build from there, but still, maybe it's too early for them too. So Lazio to win 185.
All right, 1x and under 3.5 for Filosofia. Really favorite this Lazio playing at the Olímpico. Next one is Real Sociedad Anderlecht. Real Sociedad started with a draw in Nice, and is one of these teams also that they started really slow the season, and little by little they are getting better. The point in Nice is positive, and the win against Valencia is even more positive, with Kubo opening the score sheet, with Oscarson scoring a brace. It was the first win of the season, and I guess, Alvaro, in the Basque Country, they expect to beat Anderlecht, only the 7th team in the Belgian league at the moment, and winless in the last 5 in that competition.
They expect that because the win against Valencia was very cathartic for Real Sociedad. Even the draw against Nice, I would say that it was a step in the right direction, and then they confirm it with, a win against Rubén Barajas' men, Valencia. Against Nice, Barrenechea scored, and that's important too, because a year ago, Barrenechea was almost a candidate to make it to Luis de la Fuente's squad in November. He was that good, when Spain still didn't know that they were that good and that they were going to win the Euros. We have to say, though, that Real Sociedad needed Remiro to save a penalty to get a point out of Nice's ground. But still, against Real Sociedad, one thing happened that I really think is important for Real Sociedad. For a few years now, the signings that Real Sociedad has made, apart from 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and Brais Méndez, haven't been successful. They haven't improved the team. And I think that Óscarson scoring 2 goals against Valencia may be a little bit of a change of direction. Not that Óscarson is going to be a superstar, but it's so important to have a player, actually, a number 4 striker, apart from 𝗀𝗏𝗏, Oyarzábal and 𝗵νητσέα, who actually can give a rest to them, who actually can score goals, who is a good poacher, who is fast in the counter-attack. So, as I said before, the week has been cathartic for Real Sociedad, and the society between 𝗵νητσέα and 𝗀𝗏𝗏 is working a lot, to the point that sometimes, one of them is waiting in the second post for the cross of the other. They had a bad start in the league, but even having a bad start, they don't concede many goals. So this is something that you have to give to Real Sociedad. And they had a tough calendar sometimes, because when they played against Real Madrid, they lost, but they were very good. When it comes to Anderlecht, look, they had everything settled to get 3 points against Ferencvaros, but send-off made it a bit difficult at the end. Angulo was sent off for them, and I think that they managed to negotiate the first game in style sometimes, with a player like Kasper Dolberg trying to resuscitate his career, scoring a penalty as well. But I think that Real Sociedad, after the win against Valencia, maybe they are favorite, because they are going to play finally without the pressure to get a win, because they already have it. Real Sociedad to win 170.
Well, under goals for most of our audience, for Jake, for Theo, Armin is saying that Real Sociedad is a bit overrated. We are seeing kind of low odds for Lazio before, Alain, for Real Sociedad now. Not sure if we should go for these favorites always in a competition with a lot of surprises like the Europa League.
No, I saw a biggest difference respect to the odds between both teams. Anderlecht is suffer from few years, because Anderlecht is the most winning team in Belgium, but it's 17 then have big crisis, institutional crisis. Maybe last season they start to stay again here to the top in Belgium, but they have a good team. I think individual, if you take individual line, we see player can be make the difference, but from the beginning of the season in Jupiler Pro League, they're outside of the bottom 6 to play the playoff for the title, and they have especially problem with the relationship with the goal. It's true we must to be warning, because away they catch better results than they catch at home. They're unbeaten in official game from the beginning of the season. But Alvaro said Angulo is not there for this game, and not only Angulo. 𝐬𝐴Mouzou really important to the left wing. Augustinsson, Torgan Hazard, Kana, Vertonghen, a lot of player. Experience and talent will be not in the field in San Sebastian. And San Sebastian, at the beginning of the season, I think they suffer a little crisis, and the last 3 games give me some input to think about is finish the crisis. In San Sebastian, we have one thing really positive for the manager. You can working with a positive pressure, because we don't have negativity in San Sebastian. I think in the last 5 years, probably in Spain is one of the institution work better with the former player, with the academy, with the marketing, and with the player sold. And I think that the crisis is finished. In my opinion, Real Sociedad is really favorite, and will be win this game. Real Sociedad winning odds 1.75.
Okay, then you take these odds 1.7, 1.75. Most of the people again are going also for an under, 2-0, 1-0. They don't see Anderlecht scoring in this game. Next one, Slavia Prague, Ajax, positive start for both teams. Slavia Prague won in Bulgaria 2-0 against 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀. Also, they are cruising in the Czech League, 5 consecutive wins without conceding. Also, in this stadium, they beat Lille, and they were close to be in the Champions League group stages. And Ajax, Alain, they destroyed Besiktas 4-0.
Yeah. A surprise, A surprise. Another game. I was totally wrong the last week. Every week that one pass, but I was really surprised, especially about the defensive phase of Besiktas. Now, from the beginning of the season, they lose against Lille. That game, except that game, they won every game in his Liga, in Super Cup from Czech Republic. In the first journey in this Europa League, is an opposition style of play, because Slavia Prague is probably one of the most directly team in this Europa League, with the long ball, really vertical team. Every summer, they're known to seeing player who can run with that system model of play. Ajax is difficult to understand where is the top of this team. I think Besiktas was not a rival; it was a partner to play a friendly game. I need to see Ajax in that type of game against a team really physical, aggressive, known to defend, and known to wait you and surprise you in transition. The beginning of the season, Ajax was difficult. I think that the winning against Besiktas probably gives some more confidence to Farioli, but right now I see Ajax can be suffer in Prague. I see Slavia Prague scoring, Ajax 2. For that reason, I choose both teams to score, odds 1.70.
Okay, Ajax is a mystery for Tony. The odds are super high, actually, to back Ajax, Alvaro.
Yeah, it's a tough one. This game is a tricky one. I'm not gonna particularly use a lot of my money for this game, because I think that I could easily get disappointed. I mean, there are so many narratives that if they happen, I would say, yes, it makes sense. For example, if this is a game in which Slavia Prague triggers kind of a surprising win, I would say, oh, okay, it makes sense. If Ajax wins it, I would say, oh yeah, Ajax has the history and the know-how and they have done it. If there are many goals, I will obviously say, yeah, that fit what I was thinking. But still, there are so many possibilities here that I'm not very ready to take any of them. I mean, obviously, over 2.5 goals in the Europa League, considering that the average goal tally is over 3, is something that you can go for, because you know that it happens more times than not, more often than not. But on the other hand, the Slavia Prague's defense has been very good in September. They didn't concede a single goal in September. They have scored a good amount of goals, though. And when it comes to Ajax, look, if you put all the results together in September, they got an aggregate of 12-1 in their favor. And they were very competitive in the first game of the Europa League. They started convincingly. So this is the kind of game in which I could go for over, maybe. It pays 184, over 2.5 goals. But otherwise, I prefer to stay a little bit calm, watch it, and see what's happening. And if I see that one of the teams, for example, is dominating a lot, I may do in-game betting. But otherwise, I will wait and see. Because even Slavia Prague, you may think that they won't have much of the ball. But for example, in their first game in the competition, they got an 89% passing accuracy, which is really good as well, and you wouldn't expect that from a team from the Czech Republic, not because they don't know how to play football, but maybe that's not in them exactly. So, it's a tricky one here. It's a tricky one.
Well, great behavior from the Czech teams. Sparta won in their first match day in the Champions League. Victoria Pilsen got a draw in Frankfurt, and Slavia Prague won in Bulgaria. Is the opposite of the national Czech team that recently is disappointing us, but again, strong the Czech teams in Europe. Next game, Athletic AZ Alkmaar. Athletic had a tough week with the draw at the Olímpico, a very positive result, and then the draw in La Liga against Sevilla. AZ Alvaro beat Elfsborg 3-2, and Van Bommel scored a brace. Is the son of the classic Mark Van Bommel playing for AZ.
Ruben Van Bommel is his name. 2 goals in the Europa League for him. The other goal was scored by Troy Parrott, a footballer who arrived from Tottenham. He's an Irish footballer. And, I think that AZ Alkmaar, they were good in the first fixture. They won with a 64% possession, which is the highest recorded in the Europa League so far. Again, the sample size is small because it's only one game, but you can see that there are some patterns over there. They got good scorers, they got a certain willingness to keep the ball, and they won. And they are going to San Mamés. And San Mamés in the league has been a very difficult ground for anybody. In Europe, it's not so much like that. In fact, in the 2015-2016 season, AZ got a draw at San Mamés, Athletic de Bilbao ground. That was 8 years ago. Of course, the squads have changed a lot, obviously. But this is a game in which Bilbao is going to be really looking forward to seeing a European game after years absent from the competition. We know that they are eyeing the final because it's going to be played in San Mamés. And I think that the week has been kind of okay for Athletic. Drawing against Roma, it was a good result. And in the second half, Athletic was very good against Roma. They invaded Roma's pitch after a difficult first half, and they managed to get a very well-deserved draw. And against Sevilla, it was a little bit of an accident. What happened with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐿, one of the best dribblers in La Liga, managing to, unsettle the defense of Athletic de Bilbao, and at the end, an own goal just leveled the encounter. But I think that Athletic is in a good moment. If you see the numbers from after the international break onwards, they have been good. And I think the money for Athletic to win is about right. 172 because they are playing at home. There is an expectation, not an urgency necessarily, but a positive pressure. And I think that they can win this game. But Dutch sides can be difficult for Athletic, especially if they play good transitions and good transition football. Athletic can suffer a little bit because the midfield of Athletic, apart from 𝐵ñat-Prados, who is very good box-to-box, is not particularly fast, and sometimes they suffer when the game is a little bit chaotic.
Alain, is the son as dirty as the father, Mark Van Bommel?
Van Bommel was one of the butcher of his generation. Yeah, he's more artist. The son is more artist. Van Bommel, I don't remember Van Bommel do good control, a good 10 control in one game. It was more a no football. Yeah. Now, AZ Alkmaar is a football academy, really productive. The last season, I think they're fighting right now with Utrecht and Twente to be the fourth team in Holland right now. But the last season we saw some player really interesting. Wijndal is in Ajax. Go out of this academy, 𝐶𝐿 from Juve. The same Calvin Stanks, who is doing a brilliant season in Feyenoord. Pavlidis, who warning with the AZ Alkmaar. It can be, in my opinion, a dark horse about this Europa League. Maybe not away, but at home there can be great problem to every team. Last weekend that lose his first official game from the beginning of the season against Utrecht. Is second in the Eredivisie, to the bottom behind to a team like Feyenoord or Ajax. In my opinion, we will be see goals because AZ Alkmaar wanna play, and Athletic Club feel comfortable with a team with the high line of defense, with the brother Williams. It can be make you create a lot of problem to AZ defense. But in change, AZ, especially from the wing, you speak about Van Bommel. I will be speak about Jaden Adai, interesting winger, really fast, really vertical. He search every time the diagonal to finish the action. Parrot makes some problem because he's a fighter striker, Parrot, with a lot of mobility, and that one give a lot of solution to the offensive midfielder. In spite of that good word for AZ Alkmaar, I think Athletic is better right now, and I choose Athletic winning odds 1.78.
Okay, Jobs is adding also both teams to score. David saying that some European big clubs already eyeing Ruben Van Bommel. Next game, Besiktas, Eintracht Frankfurt, both were big surprises in match day one because Besiktas got destroyed by Ajax. Eintracht Frankfurt drew with Victoria Pilsen when they were leading 3-1, only 5 minutes away from finishing the game. Great season so far for Eintracht. Alain, they are second in Germany. They score plenty of goals usually.
Yes, it's a really dynamic team. They follow a little the line who drew Adiuter first, and after Oliver Glasner, who is in the Crystal Palace bench. Yes, in Frankfurt, they have idea really clear. They want to play direct football, and they go during the summer. They move every time very well, and they have that skills to value the player. I think 𝐬𝐿𝐵ic is the best example. 𝐬𝐿𝐵ic outside of Frankfurt, he never run, but in Frankfurt, remember, he deserved to sing in Real Madrid. After that brilliant season. Yes, it's a 4-4-2, really, with a lot of mobility, with a lot of is really fast from the wing, with a lot of powder, with Marmud and Matanovic. Besiktas show a lot of limit with his defensive line. Sorry, in Amsterdam, but Besiktas has a lot of offensive powder, a lot of solution. With Ciro Immobile scored twice yesterday against Kayserispor. Rafa Silva, I think, is a lux for a Turkish team. Joao Mario arrived the last day of the mercato, but he start to give his quality. I think 𝗲𝗄𝐻𝐿, the Albanian player, is another player who will be discovered during this season. And in the midfield, I think Jadson Fernandez. I ask me how is possible he followed to Besiktas. I think he's brilliant midfielder, and we will be show his quality during this Europa League. Is, in my opinion, a game with a lot of goal. I choose over 2.75 goals, odds 1.85.
Yeah, the normal thing would be looking at goals, both teams to score. Alvaro, these are two really high scoring teams.
Yeah, I like that. I think that both teams to score 157, over 2.5 goals, 167 is something that I like. Besiktas needs to win, obviously. They lost 4-0 to Ajax, but on the other hand, they haven't suffered defeats in the league. So it's still to be determined whether what happened against Ajax was an accident or a whistleblower. But they've got the firepower up front. Alain has explained or has broken down who the players are, and I think that the standout striker is Ciro Immobile, who is still good enough, young enough, I will say, despite being over 30, to make a difference in a game. With Frankfurt, look, the thing with them is that I think that they are not capable of keeping the game under control. And we have seen this in the Europa League quite a lot recently. True, they managed to make many players better, even better than they actually are, and probably 𝐬𝐭𝐴 is a very good example, but I would say that there is a little bit of that case maybe with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 as well, even though some French people may disagree, but I think that 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 showed more limitations playing for Paris than he did playing for Frankfurt. One thing that makes me think that there will be goals is the fact that Trapp, the goalkeeper, is still injured, and 𝐿 Santos, the second choice goalkeeper, was rather sloppy and insecure in the game against Viktoria Pilsen. If you check the highlights of that game, you will see that he wasn't very good under or behind the posts, but he wasn't very good in set pieces either. So if Besiktas tries to target this goalkeeper, I think that there is a mistake in them. Frankfurt are going to attack. They are some of the leaders of the competition in passes completed, which tells you that they are not so much about transition these days, but also about, keeping the ball and having it, despite, as I said before, sometimes they tend to lose control of the game. But still, for me, this is goals. Over 2.5 goals, 167.
Now, all right, both teams to score in the second half. Jack is telling us over 3, maybe 2-2, 3-2. Let's see if we see plenty of goals in Istanbul. The best game in this Thursday is Porto, Man United. It looks like a Champions League game, but Man United looks like a conference team recently. 3 winless games, destroyed by Tottenham. Also, couldn't beat Twente in Matchday 1. They had Aston Villa at the weekend, so the schedule is going to be difficult for Ten Hag. Porto were surprised by 𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀, always very competitive in this competition, despite Samu Omorodion, Alvaro, a player that you like and you know him very well, scored the opener in that game.
And Omorodion has scored 5 goals in as many games for Porto, so I'm going to back. I'm not going to go to the individual market a lot in this Europa League because I prefer to do it in the Champions League normally. But Omorodion to score 3.0 is good money. It's very good money, actually, for a player who is scoring a lot of goals. But for me, Porto is the favorite here. Really. Manchester United are going to 𝗲𝗏𝗀. It's not easy going to 𝗲𝗏𝗀. Historically, for Manchester United, yes, they got good wins here. But that was another Manchester United. This Manchester United is devoid of style, devoid of identity, and devoid of personality. And many players are playing worse than they can. The other day against Spurs, probably Erik ten Hag fielded the best possible lineup with Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Lisandro Martínez. Who was there? Diogo Dalot, Kobbie Mainoo, Ugarte, Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, and Joshua Zirkzee. That is probably the best lineup that Manchester United can field. Maybe some may argue that Casemiro instead of Ugarte, or Luke Shaw instead of Mazraoui or Diogo Dalot, or Højlund instead of Zirkzee. But even those players wouldn't make a massive difference. So after spending so much money over the summers, Manchester United doesn't have a squad that you would fear. And you have to wonder why. And then the team is playing really badly, and they lose control, and they don't know how to play from the back, and the pressure is disjointed. It's totally disjointed because they go for the pressure very carefully, but instead of that being a sign of a team that are going to defend deep, then it's so easy to make chances against them. And for example, probably you remember the goal that Brennan Johnson scored against Manchester United the other day. Mickey van de Ven, who is a very fast defender, just cut through Manchester United's defense and midfield as if he was a knife in butter. It was so easy, so easy. Old Trafford is no longer a ground in which Manchester United can feel secure. Away from home, Manchester United is not a good team. Ugarte is still a work in progress. Kobbie Mainoo may be injured as well. So, I think Porto, who are not perfect this season. They are still adapting to a new manager. Look, I think they are favorites. I really think they are, despite their result against Bodo Glimt. So I'm going to back Porto to win 290. And if I want to go for a safe bet, Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Porto, meaning that if they draw, you get half a win. If they win, you win 175.
Filosofia, double chance for Porto, Man United to lose by 3 goals, Porto to win, a lot of negativism around, negative vibes around Man United and Ten Hag. Alain, Ten Hag to be sacked after this game, someone was saying.
No, 2 more games. We heard yesterday in TalkSport that he will have 2 more games.
Well, Aston Villa and 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀, not easy.
Yeah.
But it's always the same question when a big team is not running. What is the relationship with the vestiary? And they don't accept the fact of we don't see an identity, a collective identity. Individual player are to the bottom respect with is a standard. I think in Manchester I miss something is the fighting spirit. This team don't wanna suffer, and the goal Alvaro mentioned is a clear example. How a center back can break all the line of the team in conduction with an highway, with that type of space. A professional player don't or can't send me. We don't see and we can stop it. It's impossible. And that one make me thinking the vestiary is playing against Ten Hag. And now going to Porto is not a gift, because Oporto, we know the mentality of Oporto. Oporto is from decade that made the difference with that, with the mind, because they have clear idea or how they want to play. In the market is probably one of the best team in Europe to sold and to signing new player to replace. I think Samu is a clear example. Right now they've changed the president. Is 𝗲𝗿𝗲𝗀, ex-manager, ex-former manager from Premier, Tottenham and Chelsea, is the president, with Andoni Zubizarreta like sporting director. And they do really well. They think really well. I think the game in Bodo Glimt was an accident. In Portugal, maybe there are not the favorite, because Sporting made really well. The scenes are really strong this season, and we saw that when they play in Sporting Stadium this season. But now against this Manchester United in Oporto, I see Oporto winning, and I choose Oporto winning. Odds 2.99. Maybe is better choose the double opportunity to have 2 results. But I see Oporto with determination.
Okay, no one is trusting this Man United. Mickey van der Berg is gonna be the next Real Madrid transfer target. His the first goal scored at Old Trafford had his signature. Problems for Man United. Let's see if they are able to revert the situation starting in 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗀. Next game, Rangers, Olympique Lyonnais. Olympique Lyon improving this season, beat Toulouse in the very last minute, also beat Olympiacos in the opening day of this competition. Their start in the season was bad, but little by little getting better. Rangers also had a very positive start in this competition, beating Malmo away with a manager that you know well, Alain Valnegri, like Paul Clement.
Yes. Playing in Ibrox Park is always difficult. It's a special atmosphere. I think Lyon finally started the season against Olympiacos and with the winning in Toulouse, especially with the mentality to manage the momentum of the game, because they'll be patient in Toulouse and score in the last minutes during the extra time with the goal of Fofana. first winning away for Lyon, 2 winning in a streak is the first time in the season. That one is really positive. Now Rangers, the goal was to catch the Champions League. And against the Dynamo Kiev, we saw a lot of limit, especially in Ibrox Park when they lose at home that game. After that, we saw the whole film Celtic really stronger than Rangers. Rangers follow that way of play really directly, really Scottish football to search to arrive quick in the area of the rival. In my opinion, there miss something about quality. This Rangers, this game Rangers Lyon is a classical in the last season. In Europe, Lyon was able to won 3 times 3 years ago. And I think Lyon catch good results maybe in this field, but Rangers must to have a reaction. I choose one with handicap 0.25, odds 1.58.
Alvaro, what is your take? Again, another game with really high odds for both sides.
Yeah, I'm gonna back Lyon with an Asian handicap plus 0.25. 171 is the money for that. I think it's good. Otherwise, a draw no bet for them. I know this season they lost, for example, to Marseille and they started slowly, but I think that they have what's needed to get something from Ibrox Park. Not necessarily something flashy or memorable, but I think that they could get with a draw or a little bit more, maybe a tight win here. I think that Glasgow Rangers, look, they are still work in progress. How many players left this summer? I think that it was 16, and they've got 11 new arrivals. And against Malmo, they were good. Don't get me wrong. I think that Malmo was suicidal with their high line. And for example, I think that Dessers did a great job against Malmo. Then Bakrami was able to profit very quickly a defensive mistake. And I think that inside the first minute, Glasgow Rangers was already winning that game in Sweden. But, I think that Lyon has better players. And, I think that in the European nights, they are capable of getting at least a draw or maybe something else for a game like this. So I'm going to go for draw no bet for Lyon, 198. And don't forget that Lyon beat Rangers here 2-0 at Ibrox in 2021. But of course, as I said before, many players left. Many players arrived. But still, I think that they've got the quality to do that. And in the weekend, they won as well. So that's a positive omen for them.
Rangers draw no bet for Jake. It pays really high both things, going for Rangers or going for Olympique Lyon. And the last game we are going to analyze is Twente Fenerbahce. We saw the special one in the highlights this weekend, showing at the camera an offside and getting a yellow card. Because of that, always character, of course, Jose Mourinho, his team beat Antalyaspor away, and also Union Saint-Gilloise in the opening game of this Europa League. Twente also, as we remember, got a draw at Old Trafford. Alain said, be careful with Lammers, be careful with Twente, and at the end, they got their point. Alvaro, really high odds again for this one, for Twente or for Fenerbahce.
Yeah, I'm going to back Fenerbahce, though, with a draw no bet again, as I did again, for Lyon. I think that the away side can get something here. The money is still decent. Jose Mourinho has proven that he knows in Europe how to go to any ground and make it difficult for the opponent. And I think Fenerbahce has very good players as well who can decide this game. And that's why I'm going to back them, really. I know that Twente did a good job against Manchester United. Probably the best thing that Twente did was not losing the plot after conceding first. And in fact, the pressure on Eriksen just in the build-up to the equalizing goal was phenomenal. I think that Twente deserved to get something out of Old Trafford, even though United had late chances, but the goalkeeper of Twente was very good, very good. And the individuals are there, and I think that Twente can score, and they've got a very competent goalkeeper. But Fenerbahce has a manager who's got the know-how, and I'm totally aware that every now and then, Mourinho in Europe, especially in these league phases, has a blunder. I remember, for example, his Roma losing heavily against 𝗵𝗲𝗀 2.5 seasons ago, but still, don't forget that he managed to get Roma to 2 consecutive finals, for example. So Mourinho knows how to play in Europe. He knows how to go around in Europe, and that's why I'm going to back Fenerbahce with a draw no bet, 186.
And Alan, you also back Fenerbahce as a Turkish football fan?
Turkish team, when they're played away, they suffer. The history that I think is an objective statistic. Twente has some skills not proper to Dutch football, because Twente is a team known to suffer without the ball, and that one is different. Fenerbahce, from the beginning of the season, I think they suffer when they must to elaborate the game, when they must to create, when they must to have the possession of the ball. Is a team of Jose Mourinho. I think Jose Mourinho doesn't found his 11th start right now. There are some position he has some doubt, especially with 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 for the striker. In the midfield, who will be stay out between Fred and Amrabat, and in defense, to be a team of Jose Mourinho, they concede a lot. They concede a lot occasion, and that one is not a good input, because if you show, I am pro Jose Mourinho, I love Jose Mourinho, but from the beginning of the season, he go out in Champions against Lille. He lose the derby. The derby have a strong meaning here in Istanbul. He suffer against Union Saint-Gilloise, and in the content, it's difficult to be agree with the quality of the football of Fenerbahce from the beginning of the season. With the tax Fenerbahce pay to the state in Turkey, they pay 25 million per season for Jose Mourinho. Right now, is really far to justify that one, and that one can have some consequence. And I am curious to see this game, because it's not a decisive game, but we must to understand, or start to understand, how will be the level of Fenerbahce in this Europa League. Right now, I see Twente scoring against Fenerbahce. I see Fenerbahce scoring. For that reason, I choose both teams to score with an odds 1.58.
Okay, same as our friend Jake. By the way, we finished this video. Now it's 1st of October, so we've opened the tipster competition, the new monthly tipster competition. There you can see the winners. In September, they are going to get a cash prize. So congratulations to all of them. Some money to spend in October. Now you have another new opportunity to win in this tipster competition, and from today on we are launching the Premier League competition, also 1,000 euros as a pool prize, and the NFL. So if you are fans of competitions, I'm sure you are fan of Premier League, you can participate and still make money. Good news. Trying to bring you some money for free. Again, it's completely for free to participate. Well, this is it. Alain, tell me your safe bet.
Twente Fenerbahce over 175 goals, odds 1.22.
There you have. Alvaro?
It will be Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Athletic Club, 148.
ACCA, Álvaro?
Yeah, Real Sociedad to win, Athletic Club Bilbao to win, Besiktas Frankfurt, both teams to score. Altogether 453.
Alain, you nailed an incredible ACCA last week.
Yes.
This week.
Winning, Athletic Club winning, Besiktas, Frankfurt over 2.75 goals, odds 5.6.
All right, thank you, Alain, thank you, Alvaro. Some of you are asking about Olympiacos Braga, about Galatasaray Steaua, I think they are playing against, but there is, Riga, Football Escola, but there are so many games, we cannot analyze all of them. Thanks, Alain, thanks, Alvaro, bye-bye.